You could be right and I could be wrong. We could just fight and we could be strong. You could be right and I could be wrong. We could just fight and we could be
This is Bridge the Gap with Mark and Dave, the program that seeks for the truth no matter where it is found.
You know, there's another question I want to ask you. It's about your patriarchal blessing. You received that. Mm-hmm. There are some that would say that's all they really are, is a horoscope. Mm-hmm. Others say that they're very deeply personal and very meaningful and given by God. So depending on who you talk to, they have their truth. What do you think about yours?
Well, specifically, I have had things in my patriarchal blessing that have happened exactly as it said it would happen. Mm-hmm. My marriage, my kids, I'm sure it says that in all of them, but mine was really tailored to me, really specific as to where and when and how. Mm-hmm. And even the kinds of people that I would associate with. Mm-hmm. It was always something that I did before my patriarchal blessing. It was, and I'm going to say it, it's just specifically says to be mindful of people who are less fortunate than you. And ever since I was little, I'm talking 3-4 years old, I was always sensitive to the kid that was getting picked on, or the kid that had less, or the kid that wore the same clothes to school every day and was an outcast. I was always sensitive to that prior to that. Those are the people that are less fortunate, the ones that are on the outskirts of society, the ones that aren't accepted, people who are forgotten about, the elderly, people who are dismissed and not given an opportunity, like the disabled, even prior to my patriarchal blessing, which I got when I was 19. Those kinds of things were already a part of who I was and what I was doing. And it became even more so after, not because I made an effort to engage in those types of things. Those were just always what I was surrounded with, was people with less fortunate, whether they be drug addicts or, like I said, the disabled or the poor or whatever. That's been a part of my life. Those people who are less fortunate, whether circumstance put me to live with those people or work with them or live next to them or bump into them on the street. I've always made an effort, not so much made an effort, but it's always been a part of who I am to engage with those people on a level that. So yeah, I think the patriarchal blessing it's, for me, mine was so far has been pretty right on. I can even share an experience with you.
Okay.
When I was struggling with my worthiness to go on a mission, and I got my patriarchal blessing, and a couple of days had gone by, I was really upset. Not so much upset, but worried. And my mom came out, maybe midnight, 1 a.m, and she said, "What's wrong?" And I told her this thing that they said in my patriarchal blessing is really bothering me, because I knew what I was doing. I was using drugs. I was sleeping around. I was being a scoundrel, basically. Mm-hmm. And I got my patriarchal blessing. I wasn't worthy. I wasn't worthy to go on a mission. I knew all these things, right? And I'm dealing with this guilt and all the things associated with not living the life that's expected of you as far as the church goes. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my mom about it. Very quietly, because we didn't want to wake anybody. I wanted my brothers, because we didn't want anybody to come out and disturb us. I didn't, so we were whispering. Mm-hmm. And my dad, who's a very heavy sleeper, and he snores. Mm-hmm. It shakes the walls in the house. All of a sudden stops.
Wow.
Immediately jumps out of bed. Doesn't jump out of bed, but he comes out of the room. Mm-hmm. We hear him stop snoring, and he's out of the room in 10 seconds. Still wearing his sleeping gear.
Yeah. Pajamas.
What's going on? What's going on? He was worried about something. She said, "Adam's just having a hard time. He's really worried about some things. He's having a hard time. You should give him a blessing." And she said, "Do you want your dad to give you a blessing?" I said, "Sure." And what I was afraid of was something mentioned specifically in my patriarchal blessing that really worried me, was that, can you say these things? It doesn't matter. Was that I'm supposed to stand before the world and bear my testimony. And I was like, come on, me? I just got done blazing with my friends, 2 days
What
after
does that mean?
Well, smoking weed. You
Okay.
know? I remember we smoked, between two of us, we smoked a quarter ounce in about 4 hours. I mean, that's pretty considerable. And so I'm still in that state of, being high and dealing with this stuff and the guilt and, and my dad didn't know anything. He didn't know what we were talking about. And he said, I don't remember anything in the blessing, but this one particular part where he said, don't be afraid of the things in your patriarchal blessing. Heavenly Father will see you through. Mm-hmm. There's no way he could have known. I mean, he was snoring. The house was shaking the whole time we were talking. Mm-hmm. He didn't hear a word we said. But, that's my struggle, I guess, right now with the church, is that I've had things happen that have spoken to the truth of it. But then I've had things that don't, and so I struggle with that. That's a real struggle I have. Here's this truth that I personally experienced. Here's this truth that I personally experienced on the complete antithesis of what I had before.
Almost like polar opposites.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of determine in my own mind right where I'm at right now. My truth right now is that there are spiritually enlightened people. There are people who are in touch with, who can communicate, not like we're talking right now, but are in communication with the other side, with angelic beings or spirit beings or, the Holy Ghost or God or whatever, you want to term it. And they do receive guidance and direction, and they can impart that guidance and direction to us, whether that person is, the bishop, my father, Alan Watts, Buddha. There's people that are set aside.
Interesting you name Alan Watts.
Well, he's just
in there, right up with Buddha.
Yeah, well, he talks a lot about Buddha, but that's why I struggle with, is that there's so many truths out there, so many things that speak to truth and the divine, and they're not necessarily confined within the walls of the church, the LDS church, that they're in Asia, in a Buddhist temple, they're in India, somebody's worshiping, can't remember any of the names, but
that is my truth too. I served a mission in Japan and learned about Shinto and Buddhism, and I could tell you stories about that, but I share that truth. Mm-hmm. You can find good and truth in all religions, and all people.
Yeah, and that's my struggle. Is how can there just be this one? There's this joke I heard. Maybe I'll tell it. It's clean.
Okay.
You can delete it after.
Hey, there might be a funny joke left in the world.
Well, yeah, this one is. It depends on your attitude. So this guy dies and goes to heaven. He meets St. Peter at the gates. He's like, oh, I made it. He goes, yeah, come on in. Let me show you around. And St. Peter's showing him around and takes him to one part of heaven, and it's just pristine and beautiful, and buildings are everywhere. And he's like, well, where are we? He goes, well, this is where the Catholics live. This is where all the Catholics came. Isn't it wonderful? He's, yeah, this is great. And he takes him to another part where there's more temples, and he's just so excited to see all these things. And what is this? He goes, this is a Buddhist. This is where the Buddhists come to heaven. And he goes on and he introduces him to a few more different philosophies and religions, and they come to a door. And he goes, St. Peter whispers to him, shh, be really quiet. And he goes, okay, why? He goes, shh. He opens it a little bit, and he looks inside, and he's just blown away. He's like, this is just as beautiful as everywhere else. Why are they behind a closed door? He goes, well, that's the Mormons. They think they're the only ones here. So,
That's a good one.
It is. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But that's my
So there are funny jokes left in the world.
There's a few.
And you made me laugh.
Good.
Maybe you didn't laugh, but it was pretty good.
No, I get the humor. I can appreciate the humor. I just can't express it. How about that?
You're laughing inside.
Yeah, hysterically.
I bet.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's really neat. Thank you for sharing those experiences with me. I can see a perspective. It's a deeper perspective as you share those experiences with me. Mm-hmm. I want to go back to your patriarchal blessing for a minute, if that's okay. Sure. Your patriarchal blessing specifically talks about drug abuse.
Yeah, be mindful of the harmful substances in the world. That's what it says.
That's kind of an unusual thing to, I don't think, all of the patriarchal blessings out there say that.
Mm.
Mine doesn't. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the patriarch was in tune with the spirit. I think, he was getting words, he was receiving those words from the divine, whatever that is. And I was in the midst of that struggle, when I was getting that patriarchal blessing with the drug addiction.
Mm-hmm. Did you tell your patriarch that?
Oh, no. As far as they were concerned, I was a worthy priest, Melchizedek priesthood holder. Mm-hmm. They knew nothing. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody knew anything until I'd been out on my mission about 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as far as he was concerned, I was just getting ready to go on my mission, and I was worthy to receive my patriarchal blessing. I don't think that personal worthiness so much plays into it as your willingness to listen, and I've always been on that search. I've always been on that journey. Ever since I can remember, I've been seeking God and to understand my place in this world he created. Ever since I can remember. I remember talking to him, when I had the rhubarb attempt.
You had a talk with God?
Yeah, I remember talking to him about it, when I was 6 years old. Trying to understand, waiting for him to intervene. If you don't want me to do this, I won't do it. And that's been one of my struggles, is that he never
said don't do it.
Yeah, and even the other times when I actually did it with the intent to die, fully capable of doing it, not attention getting, but was going to die, he didn't intervene.
Did you expect an angel to come down and stop you?
No, I don't expect that at all. I don't expect that at all. I just expect, I don't know what I expect, but what I think I need at this point, and what I've always felt like I've needed, is reassurance that I'm not just floating, that I'm not just suffering. Even though that's what life is suffering, right? I mean, you're gonna suffer. Like we've said, this world is hell. No, I don't want an angel to come down and, here, Adam, let's talk about this.
And I would say there are some that would disagree with you too, right? Some people think it's a pretty nice place. They got it good. But I think everybody does struggle.
Yeah, I think they do.
Even those that look like they have it pretty good, deep down inside have something they're struggling with.
I think even more so today than ever, just with the way society's disconnected itself with the technological advances we've made. I mean, I don't think I know anybody or have met anybody that hasn't mentioned at some point in conversations with them, even in the most minimal way of saying it, that they're disconnected. And people feel that sense of disconnectedness. I do. I'm really sensitive to it. I've been feeling it for a long time. I think people now are just becoming aware of it. But,
Well, and I'm not trying to get us off subject here. I want to get back on topic.
That way. But as far as like that drugs, harmful substances comment, I think that was a warning for me that I didn't heed. Because I wouldn't so much say I was a drug addict at that point in my life. I was more enjoying the experience of using drugs. It was never hardcore drugs. It was just weed at that time. And maybe I dropped acid once or twice. But at that point, it was just weed. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, all my good friends were dealers. It was always in abundance. I never had to pay for it. So I was just enjoying it at that point. And that was a warning that, to me, that, now I can look back and say this is going to affect you in the long run. And it did. I think that's what I can say, that, with 100% assurity, that I am what I am now physically because of those choices that I made to not participate in those things.
Do you feel like your patriarchal blessing was full of these woulda, coulda, shouldas, but you didn't, and now it's too late?
I don't think I so much blew them as the obstacle was set before me, and it destroyed me each and every time. Because so many times I got so close to achieving things that I didn't think I could ever do. with my strength, with my athletics, walking onto the football team and getting a full ride scholarship at 24 years old, not having picked up a football in 6 years, in just 2 weeks, I've earned a full ride, being academically able to perform at a level to where I earned tuition waivers for grad school. I was accepted into grad school when I was a senior with full scholarships and, with career opportunities. And as soon as I got to that point, the pinnacle, the acme of I was ready to get to the top step, I blew my knees out, had a car accident. Things like that would come up, and I would always fall back into, well, I worked so hard, it's gone, I'm done trying. And then for a while, I would go back to, I guess, smoking weed, drinking a little bit. And alcohol was never a big thing, but I did it to ease the pain, for sure. But I would always revert back to those bad habits. Then after, the car accident, when I first got introduced to opioids, it was a whole new experience. I had to deal with that struggle, and that ultimately led to, the failed marriage and further addictions and drug-seeking behaviors. And then I became, then that's when the addict became. I think it was a warning that, I can look back and say, things are going to happen in your life and they're going to cause you to want to go back to this, but don't. Because if you do, it's just going to be worse for you as you continue on this journey. And I feel like I dug my own hole with the drugs as far as developing the disease that I got.
So does that make you feel like it's hopeless and that you blew it? Yeah.
That's why I said I should be dead already. I don't know why I'm still here. I don't want to be here anymore. I struggle with that thought every day, all the time. I don't want to be here anymore. I just watched, it's maybe a poor example, but it fits for me because I just watched it. But I watched the show I've seen many times and enjoyed. It's The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. It was on the Roku. I stole it out of your room, by the way. It's down in my room.
Okay. That's where it went.
Yeah.
So good. I never watched it anyway. I didn't even notice it was gone.
I didn't even know we had it. I asked Cindy if I could steal it, and she said bring it back, and I never did.
Gotcha.
So in The Last Samurai, I don't understand everything about the samurai, but I know enough to know that dying with honor is the greatest thing a samurai can do, whether that be through Harikari, or dying in battle.
Harakiri.
Is that what it is?
Well, that's the correct pronunciation in Japanese.
Sorry, not all of us went on missions to Japan, Mark. I went to Houston.
It means to cut the stomach.
Yeah. And I know, I understand that, dying honorably is very important to them. And if you die honorably, then your place is assured in the afterlife, right? And you get an opportunity to come back and experience life again, or however that works. I don't know the whole philosophy behind it, but I know dying with honor is a big deal. And you accept your defeat and you commit harakiri. And that's your honorable death. And I feel like I'm living a dishonorable life by continuing to exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then that could be your truth. And, I've always told you I believed in you. I have a different truth for you. Right? But It's not your truth. It's my truth for you, which seems unfair. But I still think you're a great guy. I have a different twist on things when it comes to patriarchal blessings. This is my personal truth. There's things in my patriarchal blessing I feel like haven't come to fruition either, and I've pondered a lot about them. I've got this feeling that it's never too late. There's always hope.
Never too late for what, though? That's the thing. Never too late for what?
It's never too late for you to become who you really are. Your journey in life is to discover who you always were, are, and will be. And you might have to go through a lot of trouble to figure that out. But in the end, you are who you are. And no matter what you've done to screw up, doesn't change who you are. You've always been who you are. Perhaps, just throwing it out there as a suggestion, that all this crap that you've been through in your life is just a way to refine you, to help you grow into and prepare for who you really are. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It just matters where you go.
I agree.
That's it for this episode of Bridge the Gap.
Truth Seekers,